Dealing with emotional hurt, it's something we all struggle with.
Yeah.
It's like a universal language we all understand, but kind of wish we didn't have to.
Right.
So today, we're going to do more than just analyze why we get hurt.
Okay.
We're going to equip you with some practical tools
I like it.
to help you navigate these situations.
Awesome.
Think of it as a deep dive into emotional resilience,
Cool.
with insights pulled from articles in Psychology Today and Marriage.com,
Uh-huh.
a YouTube video by therapist Todd Perlmutter,
Okay.
even some thought-provoking social media posts.
Interesting mix of sources.
It's
Be looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too.
So
It's fascinating.
it is fascinating how these sources, while different in format,
Uh-huh.
converge on some similar strategies
Right.
for dealing with hurt,
Yeah.
which is exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Okay.
Moving beyond the just get over it
Mhm.
advice
Right.
and really equipping you with actionable strategies.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the foundation. Why do we even get hurt in the first place?
Yeah, good question.
I mean, wouldn't it be easier if we were just immune to it all?
Well, easier maybe,
Yeah.
but not very human.
True.
You see, we're wired for connection,
Mm-hmm.
and that inherent need for belonging makes us so vulnerable
Yeah,
to emotional pain.
that's true.
Think about a time
Okay.
when someone's words or actions really stung.
Oh, yeah.
It likely boils down to
Yeah.
feeling rejected or invalidated in some way.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the Marriage.com article brings up this concept of conditioning.
Yeah.
They explain how we can become so accustomed to unhealthy patterns
Mm.
that we actually start believing we deserve to be treated poorly.
Wow.
It's almost like our minds are playing tricks on us,
Yeah.
making us accept behavior that we know deep down isn't okay.
Absolutely.
Have you ever found yourself in that situation?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a subtle trap, and it's more common than you might think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Todd Perlmutter, in his YouTube video,
Uh.
frames this in the context of human nature.
Okay.
He argues that when we're hurt,
Mm-hmm.
we often lash out and hurt others,
Oh, that's interesting.
creating this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
The first step to breaking free
Okay.
is recognizing this pattern.
Recognize the pattern.
Right.
So recognizing those unhealthy patterns is crucial.
Totally.
But what about those underlying factors
Okay.
that make us more susceptible to hurt in the first place?
Right. So
Oh.
several sources point to psychological factors
Okay.
like past traumas,
Mm-hmm.
low self-esteem, or even the fear of rejection.
Yeah.
These can make us hypersensitive to emotional pain.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
And 7 Cups specifically mentions emotional abuse
Yes.
as a form of hurt that needs to be addressed differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's important to acknowledge that not all hurt is created equal,
Right.
and emotional abuse is a serious issue.
Definitely.
Later in our deep dive, we'll discuss the signs of emotional abuse
Okay.
and what steps you can take to protect yourself. But for now, let's focus on what we can control
Okay.
in those moments when we're feeling overwhelmed by hurt.
Okay, so let's talk about regaining that control.
Yes.
Both 7 Cups and Marriage.com
Mm-hmm.
suggest distancing yourself, at least temporarily,
Yeah.
from the person causing you pain.
It makes sense.
Now, I know this might sound like avoidance,
Right.
but hear me out.
Okay. I'm listening.
It's not about running away forever.
Gotcha.
It's about creating a space for yourself
Ah.
to choose how you respond
Yeah.
instead of being ruled by those raw, immediate emotions.
I see it.
It's like hitting pause
Yeah.
so you can gather your thoughts and feelings
Mhm.
before deciding on your next move.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Hitting pause.
Yeah.
And this aligns perfectly with what Todd Perlmutter refers to as
Okay.
transforming hurt into love.
Transforming hurt into love.
Yeah.
It might sound impossible
I know, right?
when you're feeling raw,
Yeah.
but he gives specific examples, like choosing empathy over anger
Right.
or practicing forgiveness even when it's hard.
It's tough,
It is.
but it's about consciously shifting your mindset.
Yeah.
And that takes practice,
Yeah, it does.
doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
And it's important to acknowledge that it's not always easy,
Absolutely.
especially when you're stuck in that overthinking spiral.
Oh, the overthinking spiral.
Overthinking, oh my gosh, I am so guilty of that.
Right.
Tell me there's a way out of that endless loop.
Thankfully, there is.
Okay.
Marriage.com refers to this tendency
Uh-huh.
to replay the situation over and over
Yeah.
in our minds, amplifying the pain.
Ugh, it's the worst.
But they also offer practical techniques
Okay.
for grounding yourself in the present moment,
Okay.
like journaling, deep breathing exercises,
Mm.
and mindfulness practices.
Okay, so journaling, breathing, mindfulness.
Yeah,
Got it.
those are good ones.
Speaking of staying present,
Okay.
I came across this analogy in Terry Real's work
Hmm?
that I just have to share.
I'm ripped.
About two monks walking along a path.
Okay.
They come to a stream where a woman is struggling to cross.
Right.
One monk immediately picks her up and carries her across.
Okay.
They continue on their journey,
Mm-hmm.
and after a while, the second monk says,
Yeah.
"We're not supposed to touch women. How could you do that?"
Oh.
The first monk replies, "I put her down miles ago. Why are you still carrying her?"
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's good.
That monk analogy really gets you thinking, doesn't it?
It does.
It's so easy to get caught up in the why and the how of being hurt
Yeah,
that we forget about the letting go part.
it's true.
And that brings us to our next point,
Okay.
setting boundaries.
Boundaries, yes.
Remember how we talked about taking space to process your emotions?
Yeah.
Well, that space also gives you time to assess the situation more objectively.
Right.
Exactly. And once you have that clarity,
Mm-hmm.
you can start setting boundaries.
Okay.
Now, when I hear boundaries, I sometimes think of walls,
Yes.
shutting people out.
Yeah.
But that's not really what it's about, is it?
Not at all. Marriage.com clarifies this beautifully.
Okay.
They explain that boundaries aren't about controlling the other person.
Okay.
They're about defining what you will and will not accept.
Right.
It's about taking ownership of your own well-being.
And I love how the Psychology Today article connects this to personal responsibility.
Uh-huh.
They make a great point about how forgiving someone doesn't mean condoning their actions.
Right.
It's about choosing not to let their behavior control your well-being.
That's such a crucial distinction.
It is.
It's not about letting the other person off the hook.
Right.
It's about freeing yourself
Yeah.
from the burden of anger and resentment.
Speaking of freeing yourself,
Okay.
Terry Real has this amazing quote that I keep coming back to.
Okay, let's hear it.
Being you is punishment enough.
Ooh, I like that one.
What do you make of that?
Well, he's highlighting the idea that the person who hurt you is already carrying their own baggage,
Yeah.
their own limitations.
Yeah.
Recognizing that
Uh-huh.
can help you let go of the need
Okay.
to punish them or seek revenge.
So it's about shifting the focus from what they did to who they are
Yeah.
and realizing that their actions are more about them than about you.
Exactly.
That's powerful.
It is.
Now, marriage.com also talks about creating an action plan
Okay.
as part of setting boundaries.
Right.
It's about deciding what you can do to protect yourself and move forward.
Makes sense.
So it's not about sitting back and hoping things will change.
Nope.
It's about actively creating change, even if it's just within yourself.
I agree.
That could be anything from limiting contact with the person
Yeah.
to communicating your needs more assertively or even seeking support from a therapist.
Right.
It's about empowering yourself to take charge of your emotional well-being.
Exactly. And that sense of empowerment is essential
Okay.
as we move into the next phase,
Okay.
actually moving on from the hurt.
Okay, so we've explored why we get hurt, how to shift from reaction to response, the importance of setting boundaries.
Right.
But how do we actually move on?
Yeah, good question.
Sometimes that can feel so overwhelming.
It definitely can. But
Yeah.
Saurav Suryavansh and Terry Real both emphasize focusing on the positive aspects of your life.
Okay.
It's about shifting your energy towards growth and healing.
So instead of dwelling on the negative,
Right.
we actively seek out the positive.
Exactly.
But what about those times when the hurt feels so personal, so directed at you?
What?
How do you move past that?
That's where it's helpful to remember, as Psychology Today points out, that sometimes you might just be in the path of someone else's anger.
Oh, okay.
Not everything is personal.
That's a good reminder.
Yeah.
It's so easy to internalize things and assume it's all about us.
Totally.
But marriage.com also reminds us
Mm-hmm.
that we have a choice in what we absorb.
Right.
We don't have to let everything hurt us.
That's right.
We have the power to filter.
Precisely, you get to decide what you let in.
And Saurav Suryavansh makes a brilliant point about choosing self-improvement over revenge.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's not about getting even.
Nope.
It's about reclaiming your power and focusing on your own growth.
Exactly.
Imagine channeling all that energy you might spend on getting even
Yeah.
into building a better version of yourself.
Love it.
That's what he means when he says self-improvement is the ultimate revenge.
It's so true.
It's like taking all that negativity and turning it into fuel for positive change.
Yeah, I love that.
And, as we talk about all of this,
Uh-huh.
I'm starting to feel a sense of hope Like maybe dealing with emotional hurt isn't about becoming invincible,
Right.
but rather about becoming more resilient.
That's a fantastic way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about developing the strength and wisdom
Mm-hmm.
to navigate those difficult emotions,
Yeah.
learn from them,
Uh-huh.
and ultimately grow from them.
So at the beginning of our deep dive, we set out to give you practical tools for dealing with emotional hurt.
We did.
We've covered a lot of ground, from understanding why we get hurt,
Yeah.
to setting boundaries,
Uh-huh.
to the power of choosing self-improvement.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
And I hope what you're taking away from this
Yeah.
is that you have more control over this than you might think.
I think that's true.
It's not about never feeling hurt. That's part of being human.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about having the tools to navigate those feelings
Right.
and come out stronger on the other side.
You've been given some serious strategies today.
We have.
Strategies to not just survive hurt,
Right.
but to thrive beyond it.
I love that.
And that's something to be truly proud of.
Absolutely. And as you move forward, remember, you're not alone.
Yes.
You have the strength and the resources
Mm-hmm.
to navigate even the most challenging emotional terrain.
We want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes, thank you.
It's been a journey,
It has.
but hopefully one filled with insights and actionable takeaways.
A lot of them.
And to leave you with one final thought-provoking question.
Okay, hit me.
What does it mean to truly forgive yourself for past hurts?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's something we didn't explicitly cover today,
Right.
but it's a powerful question to ponder as you continue on your journey of healing and growth.
It is.
So much to think about.
Yeah,
Remember, this is just the beginning.
it is.
Emotional resilience is a lifelong practice, and
Yeah.
we're all in this together.
Absolutely. And as you continue to explore and grow, remember that you are not alone.
Yes.
You have the strength and resources within you to navigate even the most challenging emotional landscapes.
Until next time, keep diving deep. You know, it's so empowering to
Yeah.
realize that we're not just victims of circumstance.
Mhm.
We can actually choose how we respond to hurt
Absolutely.
and take active steps
Right.
to heal and move forward.
It's a complete shift in perspective, isn't it?
It is.
Moving from feeling powerless to realizing you have agency.
Right.
And that's what makes this whole conversation so hopeful.
So hopeful. And as you go about your day,
Uh-huh.
we encourage you
Yeah,
to think back on the points that resonated with you.
that's good advice.
What are those specific insights that
Mhm.
you can start applying in your own life?
Exactly.
Maybe it's practicing mindfulness,
Yeah.
setting a boundary, or simply choosing to focus on self-improvement.
Those are great ones.
Yeah,
And remember, this deep dive is just the beginning.
it is.
Building emotional resilience is a lifelong journey.
Right.
It's about constantly learning, growing, and evolving.
Absolutely. And we're all in this together.
We are.
We're all navigating these complex emotions.
Yeah,
And there's so much strength in knowing you're not alone.
absolutely. And we hope that this deep dive has provided you with the tools and the inspiration
Uh-huh.
to face those challenges head on,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that you have the strength to not only survive,
Yeah.
but thrive.
Until next time, keep diving deep.